After finishing the Destiny 2 beta, I thought it would be harder to jump back into Destiny 2 and to continue my journey, but honestly there really wasn't any adjustment needed and I just picked right back up where I left off. Some might see that as Destiny 2 being too similar to Destiny 1. I choose to look at it as Bungie understanding how to do a sequel for a game like Destiny 1, despite my issues with the beta. So I jumped back into Destiny 1 and I think I finally figured out what look I want to go with for the rest of Destiny 1. I'm the type of person that's constantly changing my look in a game depending on my mood, but I've always wanted to just stick with one look that I'm happy with. Not gonna lie, this looks pretty awesome. So I thought this week was going to be the Trials of Osiris episode, but you see, I didn't know there wasn't any matchmaking for Trials because I'm a noob and I don't do enough research, and I'm actually kind of sorry about that. Come to think of it, not having matchmaking kind of makes sense for Trials because it's the kind of game mode that, like Countdown in Destiny 2, requires a bit more communication than normal PvP. It totally makes sense that you would want the other two players with you in party chat in order to have a shot at getting to the lighthouse. So considering that my schedule was kind of abnormal, my friends aren't typically available when I am, so I decided to focus on something that I've always wanted to try, the Nightfall Strikes. Going into this, the only thing I really knew about Nightfall Strikes was that they were supposed to be super hard versions of the strikes I've ran previously, which I was totally down for. After all, as long as you have a team with you, then how difficult could it really be? Nightfall Strikes don't have matchmaking either, do they? Look, Bungie, I get it with Trials, but why the hell is there no matchmaking for Nightfall Strikes when you have matchmaking for normal strikes? Not really having time to contemplate this any further, I jumped into the strike with nothing but a fully leveled Sunbreaker and blind optimism to fuel my trek through this nightmare. I think I died more times during this one strike than I have in Destiny in general. Just to understand how stacked against me this was, I ducked out of the way a few times and looked at the barrage of fire coming at me, fully understanding that this was not meant for one person to beat. Yet, I still trudged on and finally made it to the mini-boss. It was here that I started to learn one of the most important concepts of playing this game: trial and error. For context here, this mini-boss is capable of wiping out your entire health bar if you stay out in the open for too long, so you're running around from cover to cover while enemies spawn all around you. There is no place that you can hunker down for the entire fight, so you have to work out a method in your head in order to survive. Spawn the boss, run to the right, kill the minions, destroy the shadow ball things, shoot the boss a bit, wait until the new minions spawn, kill them, shoot the boss more, die, spawn, repeat. While I did find myself getting further and further, I still couldn't beat the boss, so I reached out for help. Remember Josh, the guy I mentioned in episode 1 as the reason for me jumping back into Destiny in the first place? Well, he was happy to assist, and the two of us jumped into the strike, and it still took forever to beat this boss. I've seen comments on YouTube videos and sometimes on Reddit talking about how some people are pissed that the Taken are coming back in Destiny 2, and I didn't really understand why until this point. The Taken are super annoying to fight, but at the same time they do add a level of difficulty to the game that's nice for more hardcore players, and it makes victory feel all the better. During our final attempt on the boss, which we won, Josh mentioned that the strike had something called Void Burn, which meant that void abilities had an advantage. That was something that I had also neglected to read. Then I saw a video on Reddit of a guy soloing the strike with a bubble shield and void grenades. How did this make me feel? Well, I think that this is the perfect time to transition into my top 3 fails in Destiny PvP as part of a segment I like to call Wow, I'm Bad. Number 1, after getting a great headshot, I rounded a corner and started taking damage, and decided my best course of action was the Titan Slam without any Guardians in sight. Number 2, I picked up the heavy ammo, saw an enemy, shot below them as they were jumping, because that always works, right? And finally, number 3, at the beginning of a match, I walked through a corridor and took a lot of damage for some reason, and then decided that a good idea would be to engage an enemy right around the corner. Okay, so that about wraps up for this week. If you liked what you saw here, then you know what to do. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.